Okay, so let's jump right in. We're all familiar with personality tests, right? You're scrolling online and you see like the Myers-Briggs telling you you're an ISTJ or whatever.
Right, or the Enneagram telling you you're a type 4, the individualist.
Exactly. And I mean, the big one for our generation, obviously, is the Hogwarts house sorting. You know, are you a brave Gryffindor, a loyal Hufflepuff, a smart Ravenclaw, or, a Slytherin?
And it's a kind of cultural shorthand we all get. It's fun. But those tests, they mostly categorize our, let's say, our virtues.
Yeah.
How we want to present ourselves to the world.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But today we're going a little darker. We're sort of stripping away the virtues and we're looking at the desperate primal urges underneath. We are looking at what I'm calling the ultimate Rorschach test of the wizarding world. We are talking about the Deathly Hallows.
It's a really fascinating lens, I think, for character psychology. We're moving beyond the simple question of are you brave and asking something much more fundamental about the human condition. Which, when you are faced with the absolute, the limits of what it means to be alive, death, power, visibility, what do you reach? When all the chips are down, what does your soul actually crave?
And we are really going deep on that question. This isn't just going to be a quick history lesson on the Peveril brothers, though we'll get to that because the context is key.
Of course.
We're taking a huge stack of character analyses. I think it's 69 different characters to be exact, and we're going to figure out which Hallow each of them would choose, and more importantly, why.
And that why is everything. That's where the real meat of the discussion is. Because the choice between the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, and the Invisibility Cloak, it's not just like picking an item in a video game.
No.
It's a mirror. It reflects your deepest trauma, your wildest ambitions, or maybe your most desperate need for safety. It really reveals what you feel you're lacking in your life.
We have so much ground to cover. We're working primarily from a really comprehensive analysis by a creator called Movie Flame, who did a lot of the heavy lifting here. But we're also bringing in some very specific, very passionate notes from a listener.
Oh.
Yeah, some thoughts on linguistic crimes being committed in the fandom that frankly we need to address. And a theory about Remus Lupin that honestly kept me up last night about it.
Oh, that Lupin theory is a real game changer. It makes you question everything about magical healing and even Dumbledore's ethic, but we'll get to that.
We will, but first I think we need to, as you said before we started, we need to clear that.
Yes, let's. Before we dive into the heavy psychoanalysis, there is a bit of an elephant in the room, or maybe a blast-ended scroot in the room.
Yeah. We have these notes from a listener who has a serious bone to pick with how certain terms are being pronounced out there in the content creator sphere, specifically calling out a creator known as Mugen.
Ah, yes. The phonetic fractures within the fandom. It's interesting how these things happen. When you read a book series for years before you hear an audiobook or a movie, you form a mind voice for these words.
Totally.
And when someone comes along and violates that mind voice, it can be, it's incredibly jarring.
Jarring is putting it mildly. The note here is specifically about the pronunciation of animagus, or metamorph.
The G sound.
You got it. Apparently, this creator, and others I'm sure, they say it with a soft G, like animagus, or metamorph magus.
Like the G in page instead of the G in go.
Exactly. And the listener makes a great point. They compare it to saying Morgan instead of Morgan. It just hits your ear wrong. It feels, it feels soft.
Well, linguistically, it's incorrect. The root word is magus, which comes from magi, the root of magic. We don't say magic with a soft J sound.
Right.
Magus refers to a sorcerer, a Persian priest. It's with weight. And hearing metamorph magus just sort of, it breaks the linguistic connection. It deflates the word.
It sounds like a brand of juice you'd buy at a farmer's market. Try the new Metamorpho juice. It's magically delicious. Pulls you right out of the moment.
I see what you mean.
And the other one the notes mention is Grindelwald.
Oh, the classic debate.
Yeah.
The English W versus the Germanic V. The listener is frustrated by the V sound, so Grindelwald.
Yeah, they want Grindelwald.
Which is funny because, Grindelwald is a Germanic name. He built Nurmengard. In German, the W is pronounced like a V. So technically speaking, Grindelwald is actually the more accurate pronunciation.
Wait, really? So the people saying it that way are actually correct?
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
From a real-world linguistic standpoint.
Yeah.
But the problem is, in the English language films and the Stephen Fry and Jim Dale audiobook, it's almost always anglicized. It's Grindelwald.
So it creates a conflict. What's accurate to the real world versus what's consistent within the canon we've all...
Exactly. It's the same as the Voldemort versus Voldemort debate. Remember when J.K. Rowling said years later the T was supposed to be silent because it's French for flight of death?
Yeah, and the entire fandom collectively said, well, that ship has sailed. The movies have been shouting Voldemort T for a decade. It's too late now.
Precisely. Once a pronunciation becomes canon in the public consciousness, trying to correct it feels wrong, even if the correction is technically accurate.
I get the listener's frustration, though. When you're trying to follow a complex theory and a word keeps getting pronounced in a way that sounds like nails on a chalkboard to you, it breaks the immersion.
It does. It becomes a distraction.
So, for the record, for this deep dive, we are sticking with a hard G for animicus.
Agreed. We shall keep our G's hard and our focus sharp.
Let's move past the phonetic friction and get to the foundation of what we're talking about today. To understand the choices, we have to agree on what the Hallows actually represent. Right. The Tale of the Three Brothers. From the Tales of Beetle the Bard. Most people probably know the animation from the movie, which was, gorgeous.
It was.
But let's do a quick recap, specifically focusing on the archetypes of the three brothers.
It's a very elegant fable. It basically maps out 3 distinct human failings and, one path to wisdom. First, you have Antioch Peveril, the oldest brother.
The fighter.
Yes, he's a combatant. He asks death for a wand that's more powerful than any other. He's the archetype of aggression. He wants to win. He wants to dominate.
And he gets the elder wand. But the key detail is that he can't shut up about it. He goes to a pub, brags that he's unbeatable, and gets his throat slit in his sleep that very night.
So the wand represents power, absolutely.
Right.
But it also represents hubris, and it attracts violence, a magnet for trouble.
It's a huge target on your back.
Then you have Cadmus, the second brother. His fatal flaw is greed, mixed with a different kind of arrogance.
Yeah.
He asks for the power to recall others from death.
Yeah.
He wants to cheat the grave.
And he gets the resurrection stone.
He does. But as you said, it's a monkey's paw situation.
Yeah.
He brings back the woman he loved, not really there. She's cold, she's sad, separated from him by a veil. She doesn't belong in the living world.
Which drives him crazy.
It does. He realizes the dead can't truly return, and he kills himself to join her. So the stone represents an inability to let go. It's about being trapped by the past, grief weaponized against yourself.
And then there's Ignotus, the youngest brother, the wise one.
The humble one.
Yeah.
He doesn't ask to conquer death or to reverse death. He just asks for a way to avoid death until he's ready.
For a way to leave without being followed.
Precisely. And he gets the invisibility cloak. He lives a long, full life, and when it's his time, he takes off the cloak and greets death like an old friend. The cloak represents wisdom, prudence, and a distinct lack of ego.
But then Dumbledore has his own little footnote on all this, right? The academic skeptic.
He does. In his notes on the tale, Dumbledore suggests that death probably didn't just show up and hand these things out. He believes the Peveril brothers were just 3 exceptionally powerful and dangerous wizards who created these objects themselves.
So the story is just a story.
A legend to explain their creations. But in the end, it doesn't really matter how they were. The objects exist, and the desire for them is what reveals the soul. Wanting the wand says something about you, whether death made it or Antioch Peveril did.
Okay, so let's take that framework and apply it to our main 3, the Golden Trio. Because the source material points out something so elegant, I can't believe I never fully appreciated it. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are a perfect parallel.
It's one of Rowling's neatest structural tricks, a perfect mirror of the fable. Let's start with Harry. He becomes obsessed with finding the Hallow, but when it really comes down to it, his choice is the stone.
It has to be. His entire life is defined by loss. He's an orphan. He loses Sirius, his godfather. He loses Dumbledore, Lupin, Dobby. His story is a story of ghosts.
Absolutely. He doesn't crave power, and he already has a cloak. What he wants is connection to the people he's lost. He wants comfort, and we see him use it. That devastating walk into the Forbidden Forest. He turns the stone, and he sees them. James, Lily, Sirius, and Lupin.
But he uses it so differently from Cadmus used it because he couldn't stand being apart from the dead. Harry uses it to get the courage to go join them.
A crucial distinction. Cadmus wanted to drag the dead back into his world. Harry used the dead to help him walk into theirs. He accepts his fate, and he drops the stone. He lets them go.
Right.
Now, we do need to clear up a common misconception here, which the source material highlights. A lot of people think Harry survived the killing curse in the forest because he was the master of death.
Because he possessed all 3 Hallows at that moment. He had the cloak, he just used the stone, and the Elder One's allegiance was his.
Right. But that's not actually why he lived. Dumbledore's very clear about this in that King's Cross chapter. Harry survived because Voldemort used Harry's blood to resurrect himself in Goblet of Fire.
Oh, right. Lily's protection.
Exactly. Lily's loving sacrifice lived on inside Voldemort. So as long as Voldemort was alive, Harry was tethered to life. Voldemort basically made himself a Horcrux for Harry, ironically. The Hallows were symbolic of Harry's acceptance of death. The blood magic was the mechanical reason for his survival.
That is such a vital clarification. Okay. So Harry is the stone, longing for the past, but ultimately accepting the... Now, Ron
chooses the Elder Wand.
And this makes some people uncomfortable, I think, because the wand is, the bad guy, Hallow.
It is, but if you look at Ron's psychology, it's heartbreakingly obvious why he'd want it. He's the 6th of 7 children. He has 5 older brothers who are all, high achievers.
Bill was head boy. Charlie was Quidditch captain. Percy was a prefect.
Fred and George were entrepreneurial geniuses. And then his best friend is the most famous wizard in the world. Ron's deepest insecurity is being second best, being overlooked.
The source mentions that line from the book, the faintest trace of longing in his voice when he hears about the Elder. It's such a perfect telling detail.
It is. And he even calls Harry mental for breaking the wand. From Ron's perspective, why would you ever throw away the one thing that can't be beaten? That guarantees you'll be noticed.
So for Ron, the wand isn't about cruelty or domination.
No, not at all. It's about validation. It's about finally being able to step out of everyone else's shadow. It mirrors Antioch Peveril's desire for recognition, but in a much more sympathetic. It's an external solution for an internal feeling of worth.
And that leaves Hermione.
The cloak.
Yeah.
The logical, pragmatic choice, just like you'd notice Peveril.
Of course.
Hermione looks at the Hallows and does a risk assessment. The wand makes you a target. The stone is, dabbling in dangerous necromancy that can't possibly end well. The cloak, however, has practical utility.
It's a strategic asset.
Exact. She values survival and cleverness over flashy power or impossible sentiment. The perfect choice for.
So it's the perfect trio. The grieving hero chooses the stone, the overshadowed friend chooses the wand, and the pragmatic genius chooses the cloak. It fits perfectly.
It does.
But okay, let's widen the scope now. Let's really dig into the allure of the Elder Wand, because looking at this huge list of characters, the people who want the wand, it is a scary and fascinating group of people.
It's a real mix of the truly terrifying and the deeply tragic. I mean, obviously you start with the out-and-out villains, Voldemort. Bellatrix Lestrange.
Voldemort is the obvious one. He sees the wand as the final key to killing Harry and achieving true immortality.
For him, it's about supremacy. It's a tool to finalize his conquest. But Bellatrix, I think Bellatrix with the Elder Wand is somehow an even more terrifying prospect.
Really? More than Voldemort?
I think so, yeah. The source argues this, and I agree. Voldemort is, in his own way, practical. He kills to achieve a goal. Bellatrix is pure chaotic sadism. She enjoys the act of violence.
He kills you to get you out of his way. She kills you because she finds it entertaining.
Precisely. Can you imagine the Cruciatus Curse amplified by the Elder Wand, wielded by her? It's unfathomable cruelty. She wouldn't just use it to win. She'd use it to, to play with your food.
Ugh, that's a chilling thought. Okay, and then you have someone like Dolores Umbridge.
A completely different but equally insidious kind of evil. This is bureaucratic evil.
Yeah.
Umbridge is obsessed with status, with blood purity, with hierarchy.
She literally lies about her own heritage, right? Claiming she's related to the Selwyn family to make herself seem more important.
Exactly. So for her, the Elder Wand isn't just a weapon. It's the ultimate status symbol. It's the magical equivalent of a royal title.
It's like a designer handbag that can cast curse.
In a way, yeah. It would validate her delusion that she is inherently superior to everyone else. She would probably invent a whole backstory about how it's been in her noble family for centuries.
Of course she would. But then the next group that craves the wand is so interesting. It's not just the megalomaniacs. It's the bully, the deeply insecure.
Draco Malfoy.
The poster child.
Draco's bullying is a defense mechanism. He desperately needs to feel important because deep down he feels trapped and terrified, especially in the later books. The wand is a shortcut to the respect and fear he craves.
If you're holding the biggest stick, people have to listen to you.
You don't have to earn their respect. You can demand it with a threat. And in that same category, you have Percy Weasley.
Oh, Percy. That one stings because he's a Weasley, but he fits the archetype. Perfect.
Percy is everything Ron fears becoming, but with ambition instead of insecurity. Percy betrayed his entire family for a promotion at the ministry. He loves rules and authority.
But only because he wants to be the one in charge.
Exactly. The Elder Wand is the ultimate symbol of authority. It commands obedience. It's his dream come true.
And what about the Dursleys? That was a fascinating inclusion in the source analysis.
It was. Vernon Dursley is essentially a Muggle Antioch Peveril. Think about his personality. He is loud. He is boastful. He is obsessed with having the best car, the greenest lawn, the biggest drill company.
He's the guy who has to be the big man in every room.
Exactly. If he knew what the Elder Wand was, he would want it simply to be the top dog. And just like Antioch, he'd be utterly incapable of keeping his mouth shut about it and would probably get himself killed immediately.
Best wand on Privet Drive, Petunia, #1. Yeah, he wouldn't last a week.
And a chance.
But there's a third group that chooses the one that really surprised. It's not the villains or the bullies, it's the practical, desperate.
This is where the analysis gets really clever. Take a look at the other Weasley brothers, Bill and Charlie.
Yeah, okay, explain this to me. Why would Bill Weasley, the cool, curse-breaking older brother, want the death stick?
Well, there are two potential reasons. The first is pure practicality. His job is incredibly dangerous. He breaks curses in ancient Egyptian tomb. A wand that gives you a massive power boost is basically the best piece of protective equipment you could ever own.
It's a tool of the trade.
Right. But the source brings up a much deeper, more personal, the scar.
Oh, from Fenrir Greyback.
Yes. In Half-Blood Prince, he was mauled by Greyback, who wasn't transformed at the time. The wings were cursed. They never fully healed. Molly Weasley says that even the best magical healing couldn't fix them.
Okay.
But remember what the Elder Wand did at the very end of the series? The one thing it fixed for Harry.
It repaired his own wand, his Holly and Phoenix Feather Wand.
Exactly. A wand that Ollivander himself said was broken beyond repair. The damage was supposed to be permanent, but the Elder Wand fixed effortlessly.
So the theory is, if the Elder Wand can fix the magically irreparable,
maybe you can heal the magically incurable.
Mm.
Bill might want the wand not for power, but to heal himself, to get his face back. He might see it as the ultimate medical instrument.
Wow, that completely changes the motivation. And what about Charlie?
Charlie's a dragon tamer. The books tell us it takes a whole team of wizards, like 5 or 6, just to stun a single dragon.
Right.
Imagine being able to do that by yourself. The Elder Wand makes you the most effective and the safest dragon keeper in the world. For him, it's about protection and professional excellence.
And then there's Hagrid. Oh, this one just breaks my heart.
Hagrid's story is so tragic. He was expelled in his 3rd year. His wand was snapped in half. He has to hide the pieces in that pink umbrella and do magic secretly.
He's not even allowed to be a wizard properly.
No, and he's not very good at the magic he does try because he never finished his education. For Hagrid, the Elder Wand isn't about dominance at all. It's about restoration. It's about fixing what was broken, his wand, and finally having the chance to become the wizard he was always meant to be. It's a desire for dignity.
And Argus Filch.
This is the ultimate long shot. A Hail Mary path. Filch is a squib, meaning he was born into a magical family but has no real magic himself. He tries so hard with those quick spell courses.
He's just so desperate.
He is. And for him, the Elder Wand might represent the faintest glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, the most powerful magical amplifier in existence could pull out that tiny trace of magic in his blood and let him cast one simple charm.
Just to be a part of the world he serves.
Exactly. It's a choice born from a lifetime of being on the outside looking in.
It really reframes the wand. It's not just about I want to rule the world. Sometimes it's I want to be whole, or I want to be safe, or simply I want to belong. But if the wand is about changing your future, then the Resurrection Stone is about being trapped in your past. And this section of the analysis, man, this one is heavy.
The stone is the hallow of grief. It appeals to those who are anchored by what they've lost, who can't move forward.
George.
That's the one that just it guts you. Fred and George weren't just brothers. They were a single entity. They finished each other's sentences. They were a matched set.
When Fred died, George lost half self.
Literally. He says he can never summon a Patronus again after Fred's death. All his happy memories were with Fred. For George, choosing the stone is not even a question.
He wouldn't care that it's a shade, that it's not real.
Not at all. Just to hear one more joke, to get one more piece of advice on a new prank, to feel complete again, even for a moment. The stone is the only thing in the universe that offers him a glimpse of that.
And Severus Snape. In a way, his entire life was a monument stone.
Metaphorically speaking, yes. He lived his entire adult life in the past, defined by one single moment of loss and guilt. Everything he did was for Lily Evans.
Always.
That one word says it all. Snape is a man trapped in amber. The stone represents the only conversation he ever wanted to have. He doesn't want power. He wants a chance to apologize. He wants forgiveness from the one person who can no longer give.
And then there's Amos Diggory. We see how broken he is in Goblet of Fire, that cry of, "That's my boy," over Cedric's body.
Amos's whole life revolved around Cedric. Cedric was the handsome, popular, talented son who was going to bring glory to the Diggory name. When Cedric died, Amos's purpose in life died with him. He would absolutely use the stone just to see a boy again, even as a pale imitation.
Now, Dumbledore is the most complex case here because he actually got his hands on it, put the ring on.
Dumbledore is a fascinating study because he represents both motivations for the stone at different points in his life. You have to separate young Albus from old Albus. Young Albus, the one who was friends with Grindelwald, wanted the stone for selfish, almost practical reasons. He wanted to bring back his mother, Kendra, so he wouldn't be saddled with the responsibility of caring for his siblings, especially Ariana.
He saw his family as a burden holding him back from greatness.
Exactly. He wanted to be free. But old Dumbledore is a man consumed by guilt over Ariana's death. He wants the stone not for freedom, but for forgiveness. He wants to know whose spell actually killed her in that 3-way duel.
And that's why he put the ring on.
That's why. The moment he saw it, all his centuries of wisdom and discipline just evaporated. He was just a guilty brother who needed to say sorry. And that moment of weakness, that obsession, is what led to the curse that ultimately killed him.
His fatal flaw. But the source brings up a wild card here that I never would have thought of. Sybil Trelawney.
Oh, this is a brilliant and wonderfully cynical take. Trelawney is, for the most part, a fraud. She knows it. Everyone knows it. But the irony is she's also a true seer. She just blacks out when she makes a real prophecy.
So she has no memory of her own genuine accomplishment.
Right. So in her conscious mind, she's a failure who people laugh at. She craves respect. So what does she do with the resurrection stone?
She uses it to actually talk to the dead in her seances.
Exactly. Imagine her holding a session and actually producing the spirit of someone's great Aunt Uriel. She'd finally be seen as the greatest seer in history. She would use a true hallow to validate her own perceived fraudulence. It's incredibly twisted, and it fits her character perfectly.
That is just, wow. Using a divine artifact for career advancement. See? I told you I had the inner eye.
It's the human condition, isn't it? Using whatever tools you can find to prove you are who you wish you were.
Okay, let's move on to the final hallow, the Invisibility Cloak. This is often seen as the wise choice, but also sometimes the coward. But looking at this list, the primary group who chooses it are the protectors.
Yes, the cloak is fundamentally a shield.
Yeah.
And that's why you see so many parents, especially mothers, choosing Molly Weasley, Lily Potter, even Narcissa Malfoy.
Lily is the ultimate example. She died to create a shield of love around Harry.
And if she had had the cloak that night, which, tragically, James had lent to Dumbledore, she would have thrown it over Harry in a heart. The cloak is the physical manifestation of a parent's instinct. If the world cannot see my child, the world cannot hurt my child.
Narcissa is so interesting, too. She's a Malfoy. You'd expect her to want the wand for status and power.
But her actions in the final battle show her true priority. She lies directly to Voldemort's face. She doesn't care about the war or blood purity anymore. She just wants to get to her son, Drake.
So she'd use the cloak to smuggle him out.
Without a doubt. Her core ideology isn't supremacy, it's family survival. The cloak is the perfect tool for a defector whose only goal is to escape with their loved ones.
And then you have the introverts, the people who just want the world to leave them alone, like Newt.
Newt is the absolute poster child for the cloak. The man hates interviews, he hates fame, awkward with people. He just wants to be left alone in his suitcase with his magical creatures.
It's not about hiding from enemies for him.
No, it's about hiding from social obligation. It's an anxiety blanket made of magic.
I think a lot of people can do that. And Credence Barebone.
Pure tragic. Credence's entire childhood was abused. For him, being visible meant being in pain. If he was seen by Mary Lou Barebone, he was punished.
So the cloak is just safety.
It's safety through non-existence. It is a profound trauma response. If I can't be seen, I can't be hurt.
And then on the complete other end of the spectrum from that, you have the mischief makers. Fred.
Yes, Fred. If George chooses the stone in his grief, a living Fred would 100% choose the cloak for joy.
For pranks.
Endless pranks.
Yes.
Sneaking around Hogwarts, setting off fireworks, exploring secret passages. It's the Marauder spirit, reborn. He doesn't want to hide from death. He wants to hide from filth.
And Rita Skeeter.
Oh, Rita is a menace. She's already an unregistered animagus, a beetle, which she uses for spying. But that's illegal. It's risky, as Hermione proved when she trapped her in a jar.
So the cloak is just an upgrade.
It's consequence-free snooping. She could get the most scandalous, invasive stories imaginable with zero personal risk.
It's amazing. The same object is a tool for a grieving mother, a traumatized boy, and a ruthless tabloid journalist.
It really speaks to the universal desire we all have, for different reasons, to sometimes just
Okay, we've arrived at the deep end of This is the part of the deep dive where we take the source material and that listener theory I meant, smash them together. Let's talk about the Lupin paradox.
We miss Lupin, one of the most beloved and tragic characters in the entire series.
So the original source video makes a very strong case that Lupin would choose the invisibility. And the logic is solid. He has lived his entire life in shame and secrecy because he's a werewolf.
He's a pariah. He has to hide who he is just to survive.
Right. And plus, there's the nostalgia. His happiest memories were as a teenager, hiding under James's cloak with his friends, the Marauders.
It's a very sound argument. The cloak represents a return to that feeling of safety, of belonging, and it's a respite from the judgment of the world. It fits his humble, self-effacing, ashamed personality perfect. He spends his life trying not to be seen as a monster. The cloak is the ultimate tool for that.
But our listener throws a massive wrench in the works with one simple question. If Lupin had chosen the Elder Wand, could he have gotten rid of the fact that he was a werewolf?
And we're right back to the Bill Weasley discussion. What are the absolute limits of the Elder Wand's power?
Exactly. Lycanthropy is a blood curse. It's considered incurable. Wolfsbane potion only manages the symptom. But Harry's wand was snapped, broken beyond magical repair, a dead stick, and the Elder Wand fixed.
So the metaphysical question is this. Is lycanthropy a break in a wizard's being, like a snapped wand, or is it a fundamental, unchangeable part of them?
And if Lupin believes there is even a 1% chance that the Elder Wand could purge the wolf from his blood, does his choice change?
I think it has. And this is where the tragedy of his character deepens. If Lupin chooses the cloak, He is choosing a life of management.
He's coping.
He's coping. He's accepting his fate as a werewolf and just wants to make it easier to exist with that burden. But if he chooses the wand,
he's choosing a cure.
He's choosing hope. A desperate, perhaps foolish. But think about Lupin's psychology. He has been so beaten down by the world, so conditioned to believe he is unworthy and incurable. Would he even dare to hope for something as impossible as a cure?
You think he might not believe he deserves it?
Or more likely, he's been told it's impossible for so long that he's internalized it completely. For him, choosing the wand would be like buying a lottery ticket. It's a fantasy. Yeah. Choosing the cloak is accepting his grim reality.
Oh, man. That is heavy. So the cloak is an admission of defeat. This is who I am, so let me hide. But the wand is a final, desperate fight.
And that's why the listener's question is so brilliant. It forces us to redefine the Elder Wand. Is it just a weapon? Or is it the ultimate medical tool? The ultimate problem solver? If St. Mungo's Hospital for Magical Maladies can't fix you, can the Death Stick?
And if it can rewrite magical curses, then every healer in the world should be after that wand, not just dark.
It's a fascinating moral pivot. Imagine a healer winning the allegiance of the Elder Wand, not to fight, but to walk into the incurable ward at St. Mungo. Neville's parents, whose minds were destroyed by Bellatrix, Lockhart's memory loss, Bill's scars, Lupin's lycanthropy.
The healer of death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the legend of the wand is that it corrupts. Would a healer be able to wield that much power without becoming arrogant, without starting to decide who is worthy of being healed?
I can cure you, but you have to prove you deserve it. Yeah, that's a very slippery slope.
Very.
So we've gone from phonetic pet peeves all the way to the deepest traumas of the wizarding world. We've looked at dozens of characters through the lens of these three iconic objects.
And I think what we found is that the Hallows really are mirrored. The Resurrection Stone is for those who are running toward their path. The Invisibility Cloak is for those running away from their prison.
And the Elder Wand. The wand is for those trying to control their future.
Whether that control means conquering the world or just being a bit safer at your dragon taming job or maybe even healing yourself.
Yeah.
It's about taking agency.
Yeah.
And in a world where magic can do almost anything, it's the few things it can't do, truly bring back the dead, grant total invulnerability, or hide you from everything, that become the most desirable things.
So as we wrap up, here's our final thought chew on today. We've talked a lot about the wand as a weapon and as a cure. But what if the whole concept of being the master of death isn't about collecting all three items? What if it's about understanding why you don't need any of them?
Like Harry dropping the stone in the forest. He mastered it by letting it go.
Exactly. He accepted death. But here is the provocative question I want to leave. If the Elder Wand could have cured Lycan, if it could have wiped away magical curse, doesn't that place a massive moral failing on Dumbledore?
Ooh, that is a stinging indictment.
He had the wand for decades. He kept it hidden. He used it to protect people, sure, but he never used it to cure his friend, Remus Lupin.
He saw Lupin struggle every single day for years.
So, did Dumbledore lack the imagination to even try? Or did he try and know it wouldn't work? Or, and this is the dark one, did he just decide that the risk of using that kind of reality-bending power was too high, even to save a friend from a lifetime of misery?
That's a question that completely changes how you view Dumbledore's relationship with the wand and with Lupin. Was his caution a wise safety measure? Or was it a failure of compassion?
Something to think about the next time you reread Prisoner of Azkaban. Thank you so much for diving deep with us today.
It's always a pleasure to explore the shadows of the lore.
We will catch you on the next one.
And please, mind your pronunciation.
It's a hard